Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome inside episode 426 of the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Ross Levitan on the outskirts of enemy territory in Winnipeg, Manitoba, alongside Brandon Pillar up in the Blue Mountains, and we just missed it on Friday's show. About an hour after we recorded, the Senators named Brady Tkachuk their 10th captain in franchise history. So Pillsy and I will get into that quickly. We did put out, however, a quick video on our YouTube that you can subscribe to. And what a moment. The youngest captain currently in the National Hockey League, the youngest captain in franchise history, and he got his first game as captain where he scored a goal. Ottawa, however, falling 5-3 to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and we'll get into that entire game recap. However, it looks like it might be more costly than we knew, or it was from the road trip. But the Senators have now put 4 players and associate coach Jack Capuano in the COVID-19 protocol. We had an inkling that something might be up when Austin Watson went in before Saturday's game. But DJ Smith is about to talk to the media, so we'll have a full recap as it happens. This is the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day. Today is Monday, November 8th, and Pillsy, it's our 2-year anniversary with the Locked On Podcast Network. Pretty cool milestone for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's been a great ride with the Locked On Podcast Network. And I can remember 2 years ago, 2019, when we got the offer. They said, you got to do 5 shows a week. You're going to be doing hundreds of episodes. You're going to get ads. It's completely changed our perspective on what being a podcaster is. And it's been a wild ride, but it's been worth it. And we've had a lot of crazy moments along the way. And I've been really thankful for not only you, Ross, my co-host, but also the fans of this podcast have just grown this into something, I think, to be fair to say, we never could have imagined it getting to this point. So just an absolute blessing to be a part of the Locked On Senators podcast.
The Senators were in the midst of winning a stretch of 6. They were 6-2 right after we joined Locked On Senators, but in 123 games, they have 46 wins since we started doing this as a daily show. I'll echo your sentiments. However, when we were doing Making Sense of the Sens just for fun at the College of Sports Media, it was whenever we could. It was then at the TSN studios, which was pretty cool in itself. Yep. When we were both interning there and then ultimately getting jobs. And when it became daily, it's like, oh man, so we actually have to do this at home. But yeah. It's been quite a ride. We've had some great guests along the way. We couldn't have done it without them. Gord Wilson, of course, was one of our first ones. We missed him on Friday. I don't know if you heard the way the episode unfolded. We actually recorded all the surrounding, and then when we didn't end up having the interview, some last-minute scheduling, we had to plug it in. But I think I missed one tease that we left in. But Gord Wilson will be back on the show. And there's going to be lots more guests coming your way. We've got a Send Central citizen from Australia tomorrow as well, Pillsy, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. It's always great. I mean, it's wild to think of people in Australia watching Sens games, and not only watching Sens games, but then getting into Senators podcasts as well. So definitely shout out all the Australian mates checking us out there.
Well, I'm pulling it up right now, Pillsy, but I do believe that Australia is the fourth most downloads that we get from any country. Can you guess the top 3 in order?
Canada, USA, Germany.
Yes, Germany, of course. Thank you, Timmy Donka. Appreciate that, no doubt. All right, we've kind of bantered enough off the top because there was huge news.
Yeah, we got to get into a story here. Yeah,
huge news on Friday, but it wasn't surprising. Brady Tkachuk named the 10th captain in franchise history. What was your immediate reaction when you saw that article?
I mean, just glowing with pride. Finally, we have a captain here. He's signed long-term. That's not an issue. They picked the right guy. It's been obvious they were going to choose him. It was just kind of a matter of when. And I think, shout out the Sens. We all wanted it to happen right when he signed his contract. Give him the contract, give him the jersey. But Smart move by Sens PR, thinking, hey, we might have a rocky stretch at the start of this season, so why not keep this good PR news in our back pocket in case things go south? And anytime you lose 3 consecutive games, allowing 5 goals in each game, yeah, maybe you want to give a little boost to the fans there. So I think the announcement was a good time. Unfortunately, they went on to lose a 4th consecutive game, allowing 5 goals, but that's not a big deal, because your Ottawa Senators, for the first time in over 3 years, have a captain, and he is the captain of this franchise to lead this team into the new era of unparalleled success. I'm fired up about it, Ross.
Did you see that the next day was the anniversary of Keith Tkachuk being named captain of the Winnipeg Jets? And Keith was 21 years old. Brady is 22. I mentioned off the top, he's the current youngest captain in the National Hockey League at 20 years old, or 22 years old, and only 1 year older than when his dad was way back in 1993. Do you think he was jacked up to play on Saturday, Pillsy? 9 hits and a goal, and played almost 20 minutes of ice time. This guy, you just know what you're going to get from him game in and game out. And when the intensity of any game picks up, he's the guy who everyone on the bench looks at and says, okay, what are we doing here, Brady? Like, what's your next shift going to be like? So I think the accountability that he brings and the aura around him, like this guy, he leads people. That's just what he does. And the fact that he's got that C on his sweater, I don't know if all the officials are going to love him. I know that he's always in the mix, but I do think that his dad taught him to be a good teammate and to be a good guy on the ice. So I don't buy into the fact some people thinking maybe you go Shabbat because he's less of a hothead, just from the sense of, being involved physically and chirping and that sort of thing. But I have no worry with Brady Tkachuk being the captain of this team for any reason.
Yeah, me neither. And a couple things I want to touch on that you talked about there. First, being the youngest captain in the NHL right now, it's pretty impressive for a guy like to be 22 years old. Like, imagine being in your early 20s, Ross, and I don't know, just to put it in our perspective, getting hired at TSN and then being like, okay, you're going to be a producer here. You're going to be upper management, and all these other people, these veterans that have worked for decades before you and are experienced in this industry, they're now going to listen to you. Like, that's a big task for a guy at that age to be in charge of a room like that. So shout out Brady for taking that challenge on, and I think he's going to do a great job, like you said. Next thing I want to say is, not only has he been a leader on the ice, but I've noticed off the ice too, he's getting a lot more of the post-game press conferences. And to be able to stand up and face the music after you're losing, you're allowing 5 goals in, you're allowing 5 goals again, and to be able to stand up and face the music and talk to the media, that's not easy either. So shout out for him for doing that. Third thing I want to hit on is Thomas Chabot. For a long time, if you guys have been listening to the show, I was on Team Chabot for those reasons you said. He's not a hothead. I like it when a captain is a defenseman. He's on the ice more than anyone else, and it's kind of I don't know, it feels like defensemen are always like the old, wise leaders by examples, which I think Chabot kind of is. He's not old, but I'll give him the wise part of that. So I like the idea of Chabot, but Brady is the guy. And if you think otherwise, I mean, you're just wrong. Like, this guy literally is the face of the franchise. It seems like everybody looks up to him. He has the hockey pedigree, like you mentioned, with his dad being captain. And yeah, I'm sure his dad has instilled in him. There's a couple people that maybe get overlooked in the game of hockey, but you need to take care of. The refs. You can't, if you're on the ref's bad side, it's going to cause a lot of problems. So I'm sure Brady is making sure he's got good relationships with the refs. And then your training equipment staff, like the extra staff on the team, I'm sure also Brady has definitely has them on his good side as well. So those 3 things definitely are important. And yeah, hat tip to Chabot, just like DJ Smith said. Just because Brady was named captain doesn't mean it's because Chabot could not be a captain. He was the better option, and Chabot is going to be almost as much a big part of this leadership group as Tkachuk is.
Tkachuk played a season-high 1946 in the loss against the Tampa Bay Lightning. We're going to break that down. And if you're wondering who the youngest captain was before Brady Tkachuk, it was Nico Hischier, who was taken in the draft before him. But now Brady Tkachuk, the youngest leader in the National Hockey League. DJ Smith is also talking to reporters right now about the most recent COVID tests. And I'm not going to say positive tests because Connor Brown and Dylan Gambrell were both inconclusive. So Austin Watson was a confirmed positive. He's going to be out in the next 10 days, but because these were not confirmed positives, they have to wait 24 hours before being tested again. They're out against Boston, but could rejoin the team later in the week. So we'll get into all that. But first, a word from our friends at Directv Stream. Does this situation sound familiar, where you've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows, you're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend log in for the good stuff? Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle. It's a great way to finally get your TV together, and it's called Directv Stream. It brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so that you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. The best part is there's no annual contract, so get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with Directv Stream. You can learn more at directv.com. That's directv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package.
Absolutely. It's time to get DirecTV, guys. There's so much sports, movies, shows going on. You don't want to miss a thing. And speaking of not missing a thing, we're heading close to the holiday season, guys. Like Christmas shopping, all those things, seasonal jobs, all those things are popping up. And hey, if you want to make a little extra cash in this seasonal time, why not check out Indeed.com? It's a great place for job posting, job hiring. Anytime you think of jobs, you should think of Indeed.com. Indeed is a hiring partner that gets you what you really want. A short list of quality candidates as fast as possible, because you can do it all. Attract, interview, and hire all at Indeed.com. So if you're a company looking for employees, I should say, all those things, Indeed.com is for you. Unbelievably powerful hiring partner where you can attract, interview, and hire all in the same place. Indeed is your go-to hiring partner where you can do all those things easily. Don't struggle to find your own quality candidates. Indeed can help you hire the right people right now, because you don't want to hire just anyone. You want to find the right person for the job. With Instant Match, as soon as you sponsor a post, you get a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description, and you can even invite them to apply right away. So no more crossing your fingers and hoping that right candidate finds you. Why don't you try to find them? With Indeed Instant Match, over 90% of employers get quality candidates as soon as they sponsor their job post, according to Indeed data. So, guys, get started right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to update your job post at Indeed.com/locked-on. Guys, don't miss out on this. Get a $75 credit at Indeed.com/locked-on. Indeed.com/locked-on. Offer valid through December 31st. Terms and conditions comply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
All right, Pilsy. So we're getting a little information now from Coach DJ Smith. One, Tyler Ennis, who missed a game with a viral infection, did not have COVID. I feel like we're trying to be wannabe MDs here, just trying to diagnose.
Yeah, we need
everybody.
a doctor on the pod here. Jeez.
No question. I'll get Rachel right involved. That being said, with COVID protocol, and we mentioned that because there's not positive tests when it comes to Dylan Gambrell or Connor Brown, the two most recent, I should mention, late last night, Nick Holden was put on the COVID protocol list. I'm not sure whether that was a positive test or not. Jack Capuano. So 5 members of the organization, 1 associate coach, and 4 players are currently in protocol. In a corresponding move, Sens fans will be fired up to hear, it looks like Igor Sokolov will make his NHL debut tomorrow night. That, I mean, you never want anyone out of the lineup, especially with COVID. It's not something that you cheer for. You're hoping that everyone's asymptomatic, doing well, coming back. But what an opportunity for Igor to get his first NHL game.
This is a massive opportunity for Igor. And the thing, too, is this is a move being known by the Senators that it's probably a short-term thing, right? Like we always talk about, if Igor is getting called up, either call him up for a long time or don't call him up. Well, they're seeing this as a short-term opportunity. Get him here for a limited time. You know that window is going to close and he's going to be sent down. So let's just get a sneak peek of what we think Igor can do at the NHL level. And I mean, this team, like when you start listing off those guys that are going to be missing from the lineup, they need scoring. They need somebody that can put the puck in the back of the net. So no offense to guys on Belleville that maybe also earn an opportunity to get called up, but they just can't score at the rate that Igor Sokolov can when he's on fire. So I love this move by the Senators. Again, echoing your statement, we hope all those players are healthy, they recover, they return, everything's fine. But this is a massive opportunity for these young players who are looking to show that, yeah, maybe things in Belleville haven't popped off that much this season, although they did have a good weekend. We'll get to that later.
Will we?
Yeah, we hope we will. But even though things haven't been going amazing in the AHL, I can come up and provide a spark for this NHL team, and hopefully that can have a trickle-down effect, and I can go back to Belleville and bring that positivity with me. So Igor Sokolov being in the NHL roster, everybody cheers for this guy. So we're hoping he does get a chance to play and that he lights it up in his NHL debut.
So the Ottawa Senators are only 1 for their last 13 power play opportunities. And we can say the puck movement's been great on the first unit, but at the end of the day, it's not how, it's how many. And only 1 goal in their last 13 opportunities. So how much will Igor Sokolov and Eric Brandstrom help elevate that number?
Well, that second power play unit is definitely going to help from having them join the lineup. I mean, Eric Brandstrom, again, a guy that hasn't popped off in Belleville, but we know his puck moving skills. And I think he just needs to they got to throw him a bone here. Like, it's been tough sledding for him this whole season. So, yes, it's not an opportunity that he necessarily deserved. It's not like Eric Brandstrom kicked the doors down. But
1+1 on Friday.
That's better, but he needs, we mentioned it when he first got brought down, he needs to dominate. Like, sure, that's a nice game, Ross, but he needs to be doing much more than that to force their hand. So this is them saying, all right, there's injury trouble. We need to do something on this back end. Let's get Brandstrom up, get him on the second power play unit, get him in positions to succeed. Like, don't put him on a third pair and have him killing penalties or something. Put him in a spot where he can gain some confidence, feel the puck, skate with the puck, pass the puck, and get those things firing in his mind, because he needs to get into a spot where he feels like he can contribute and where he feels like he can show DJ Smith he's worthy of an NHL spot.
Are you of the mind that he should go back to playing with Artem Zub like he did at the end of last season?
Absolutely. Yeah. And well, I mean, let me put a kind of asterisk there. I'm of that mind if they continue to go with the ideology that we're going to split Zub and Shabbat up. I still don't think this team is ready to split those guys up. We saw how that worked on Tampa. Didn't work out great. So if you have one thing working, keep that line together. But if they are indeed going to stay that way, then yeah, why? Like I said, set him up for success. He played well with Zub before. Set him up there if that's the way you're going to go.
So the Senators canceled their practice today with the whole COVID situation, but they are scheduled to take the ice tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. for a morning skate in Boston before they play the Bruins at 7 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday night. So there's still 24 hours here before that. The Bruins are 5-4. We'll have a full preview of that game on tomorrow's Locked On Senators. But Pilsy, what do you say we get into recapping Saturday's matinee against the Tampa Bay Lightning? Before we get to that, however, a word from our friends at Built Bar, the protein bar that tastes just like a candy bar, that come in 16 amazing flavors. We'd recommend getting the mix box. Try all of them and decide which Built Bar you like the most. Bars are 100% covered in chocolate. They're soft and easy to chew. And Built Bars are also great for the health-conscious guy or girl, because you can lose or maintain weight while indulging in a delicious treat. The bars are low in calorie, low in sugar, but they're high in protein and high in fiber. It's a nutritional grand slam. I'd recommend the peanut butter brownie. It's been a while since we've talked about it, but it's a classic flavor and is absolutely delicious. Built Bars are the protein bar that tastes like candy bars. Go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCKED15 and you'll get 15% off your next order. It's Built Bar, the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. Make sure you use our promo code LOCKED15. Promo code LOCKED15 at BuiltBar.com. All right, Pilsy. So the Ottawa Senators fall 5-3 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Their record now sits at 3-7-2. So for all the talk of this team being better than last year, at the end of the day, they were 2-8-1 at the start of last year. So yeah, you can play well, but they've got one extra win to hang their hat on. But I think this game on Saturday wasn't one of their worst of the year. They're playing against a good team. How did you break that one down?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I mean, I hate to say it, but this is one you could have looked at and you're like, that's going to be a scheduled loss there. Like, you can kind of already chalk up an L there. So what can we do here is improve on games past. And yes, they did allow 5 goals. One of those an empty netter, but I hate to say it, Ross, but again, I don't blame Matt Murray on this game. Like, did he play lights out? Not necessarily, but if you start looking at the replays of the goals, the first 2 goals at least were tips, deflections. Or no, the second one wasn't a deflection. Goals 1 and 3 were deflections, and he was screened in front. No chance on that one. And then the 4th goal was a breakaway goal. What are you going to do there? And then the 5th is an empty netter. So realistically, Matt Murray didn't play bad. It's just when you're up against a 2-time defending Stanley Cup champion team, anytime you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. And that's what happened there. And I think this was a better game because you're up against a stronger opponent. And for all intensive purposes, this game could have been a win. Like, it's 3-2. I know I'm jumping ahead here, but it's 3-2 in the third period. Nick Paul hits the crossbar. If that goes in and we get things tied up at 3-3, this is a whole different game here, and things don't slide from under their feet there. So this is a game where I thought the Sens did a decent job of sticking with it, but ultimately they just can't get the job done.
It was so disappointing to see how the third period unfolded with Tampa scoring those 3 goals. But let's get into it the way we like to, and that is chronologically. And I mentioned on Friday's show, stay out of the penalty box against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Real shocker, real deep dive by me into the analytics, although Tampa's power play hadn't been clicking at levels that we've seen in years past. But it was a Victor Hedman point shot. You mentioned it went off of Josh Brown right in front of the net. We're not going to sewer him for that. I mean, he's just trying to do his job on the PK. However, it just hits his behind and goes in the back of the net. However, Ottawa did do a good job of staying out of the penalty box. They only took 2 penalties in the game, but you let Tampa get on the power
50%,
play.
50%, yeah.
They're going to make you pay. However, in the second period, those momentum goals we talked about, and that was Connor Brown, just determination personified on his goal.
I love that goal so much. Like, I don't know how much time do we got left in the episode, Ross, because I could talk about this goal for days. Like,
depends if you want to talk about Belleville or not.
Yes, we are talking about Belleville. When you get back-to-back wins, we're talking about it. Hold us to it, listeners. Hold us to it. But speaking on Connor Brown, that is a classic example of, I want this puck more than you. Cal Foot, bigger. I was going to say stronger, but I don't want to assume that. Connor Brown may be working out in the weight room, but Cal Foot, definitely a bigger guy than Connor Brown.
We're not talking about Adam Foot.
Yeah, not Adam Foot, Cal Foot. Yeah, the other feet there. But that's the thing. Like, Connor Brown saw an opportunity where Cal Foot was fumbling with the puck a little and said, I'm going to take it here. Then Cal Foot says, okay, you can take it, but I'm going to out-muscle you to get it right back. No chance. Connor Brown gets low. He gets inside position. He hangs onto that puck. And then that's only part of the play. Sure, you got the puck. What are you going to do with it here? Then Tampa comes back. They know they got to get back there. Ryan McDonough's right there. Connor Brown has no room. So obviously the play here is just to try to roof it backhand, which I think everyone thought he was going to do. There wasn't any other option there. But for him to quickly get it over to his forehand and then roof it with his forehand and avoid McDonough's stick, that's incredible. Like, the goalie, Brian Elliott, had no chance on that because he didn't even think that was a possibility. He was covering that backhand shot, but Brown switches over to his forehand so quickly and lets that shot off before anyone can even realize it happened. And that's an incredible goal by Connor Brown. That's the kind of stuff we love seeing. Like, that's almost the Mark Stone story, Ross. Steal, snipe, Sally. And that was exactly what we saw from Connor Brown there. I love it.
He got out-sellied, though, on the next Senators goal. Now, in between Jan Ruta, his point shot went in. And this one, Nick Paul and Connor Brown did not agree on how Nick Paul played that.
I want to get into this, too, because I love that from Connor Brown as well. If there's a moment we can think back in Sens history like that, it's the Carl and Brassard in the playoffs, right? And here's the thing. I am fully convinced that this team, all these guys are boys. They're friends. They work well together. I'm assuming they hang out off the ice. Family, kids, girlfriend, wives, all friends. It seems like the friendship tour, Pierre Dorion has done a great job, and we got a lot of friendship going on. But How can you be so positive and so nice and so joking and so casual with everyone when you're losing consistently? Like it cannot be all happy faces and smiling and rainbows and sunshine when you're always losing. So once in a while, you got to find a way to fix that. And Nick Paul being in front of the net, same as Josh Brown, screening Matt Murray and doing a little one leg down curtsy to try to block a shot, that's unacceptable. You're only making yourself small. You're blocking the goalie's vision, and you're allowing an easy way for them to create chaos by getting a puck on net and hoping for a deflection there. So Connor Brown says, don't pull that crap. If you're going to block a shot, get big and try to block that shot. Don't make it look like you're trying to block a shot. And I like it when players do that because you have to hold each other accountable. Nick Paul and Connor Brown were the duo that scored a golden goal together. Of course, they're buddies. They always play in the same line. But once in a while, you got to call a spade, and that you can't let that happen. So I like that Connor Brown went out and did that. Now, I would have liked if it worked out like Carl and Brass, where one of them scores an amazing goal to turn this thing around after as a result. And you can point to that. That didn't happen, unfortunately. But I did want to comment that I like that Connor Brown is acting in a leadership role there and calling people out on things that need to be called out.
Yeah, well said. And it clearly got the boys fired up. I thought they finished the last 10 minutes of that second period very well, including the captain breaking out the Frank the Tank once again. And this one had a little extra juice behind it. He was fired up. But can we talk about Drake Batherson, who has been the most talented player this year on the Ottawa Senators? Earlier in the game, did you see that McDavid-esque rush that he had? Picked the puck from behind his own net, weaves and wiles right through everybody, and just missed.
But it was almost the exact same play, and Ross, I thought to myself, and I was like, that's where the extra $7 million gets you a goal.
Yeah, 100%. McDavid, by the way, just saying, like, that's my job, to score big goals. But Drake's job is to feather beautiful saucer passes right across. His 7th assist of the season, and Brady makes no mistake beating Brian Elliott.
And once again, I want to talk about the effort level there because I'm not sure who was beside. It was probably Josh Norris, but they're kind of fumbling the puck. It's getting switched in transition, and there's a couple Tampa guys there, and Batherson is kicking it. He's using his stick like, whatever I got to do to corral this puck, I'm doing it. And he does that, gets up the wall, notices Brady on the far side. Tampa knows that you're going to try to get that puck over all day long, so they try to block the lane. Beautiful, beautiful sauce pass. Like, that is a great sauce right there. And Brady says, I'm going to smash this puck through the net, through the glass if I need to, because I'm putting everything I got into this. And that's the kind of goal where when you have the right players in the right spot, you can execute those plays. The thing is, the Senators don't have enough guys who, if put in the right spot, they can execute. But Brady is not going to miss that. And that Selly was legendary. First game as a captain, first goal as a captain. Let's go.
And with Drake Batherson, he had a great stick play to start that. So how about the Drake Batherson story? Steal sauce, Sally. Because he put that, over the defender's stick. Yep. No problem at all. What a treat to watch him play. He actually put it over 2 defenders' sticks because McDonough was coming in on the back check hard, and he timed the pass perfectly with under 45 seconds left in the period. Now, unfortunately, third period did not go the Senators' way. Talk about momentum. Period. Steven Stamkos, he was mad at that second goal. Or there was a play earlier in the game that Stamkos was livid about, similar to the Connor Brown situation with Nick Paul. And what does he do? He just bulldozes his way to the front of the net, picks up a rebound, and puts it home. The more I watch Stammer play this year, the more I'm convinced, especially with John Cooper as coach, he's going to make the Olympic team. And I don't think it's a wrong decision either, because that kid can play hockey. And
he deserves to make it the Olympic team. He broke his leg right before last one, right?
Yeah, 100%. But a lot of people have him kind of on the bubble. There's no way this guy's on the bubble. He is an elite talent. You know who else is undercover elite? Andre Palat, who ended up getting the 4th and what ended up being the game-winning goal in this one. Get this, Pilsy. So he's +3 yesterday, or Saturday, rather. In 562 NHL games, he's plus 132.
Oh my God.
Nice life, eh?
That's warmer than the weather in Tampa. Sheesh,
no doubt.
That is excellent.
Yeah.
Man.
So Andre Palat, he had a big game against Ottawa as well, a goal and 2 assists. Braden Point, 3 assists, and Anthony Cirelli gets what ends up being the insurance goal into an empty, or sorry, not into an empty net. We're waiting for Ottawa to pull the goalie, and it never ended up happening. Boom, they score. Logan Shaw gets a cheeky one in there at the end.
No, the Cirelli goal was an empty netter.
Oh, sorry, it was the Palat one
Yeah.
with under 2 minutes left that you're like, okay, like, is the goalie going? Turnover, Palat goes down. That was a breakaway, right?
Yep.
And then Cirelli gets the empty netter. Nice. Thanks for correcting me on that one. And then Logan Shaw, with just 16 seconds left in the game, makes it look a little better on the box score.
Yeah, I mean, barely. But yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, I think the Senators, they had this is the difference between, I was going to call the Senators a rebuilding team, but they're not a rebuild. They're not supposed to be a rebuilding team, but a team that hasn't competed for playoff spots in a couple of years. Let's frame it that way. And a back-to-back Stanley Cup champion team. Like, Tampa had a chance to end it, and they ended it, right? The Sens had a chance to tie it, and they hit the crossbar, and then it falls out from under them. Like, that's where you see the difference here. Coaching, leadership, experience, all those things come into play.
Good news, though. The Senators will not have to face a former Ottawa goalie in the next little while. Now, you might be wondering why. Who cares? They're just former Senators. Well, in their last meetings, I should just say all time, Robin Lehner, who beat the Senators last week, Brian Elliott, who beat the Senators this weekend, and Ben Bishop, who's another former Senators goalie, they are a combined 25-1-9 against the Ottawa Senators. That is absolutely absurd. 25 wins in 36 games, math guy. Yeah, 35 games. 25 wins in 35 games and only one regulation time loss. So that is just mind-blowing of a statistic.
That is absolutely brutal. I mean, we'll get to this when the Sens play Buffalo, but hopefully Craig Anderson's stats versus Ottawa aren't that skewed. But
right, well, he hasn't played against them since 2010.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also, just quick note on Brian Elliott. I always felt that Sens fans were unfair towards Brian Elliott. I thought he was a good goalie for the Sens. Like, his numbers aren't bad. It's just he wasn't the guy, and they went out, traded him 1-for-1 for Craig Anderson, and he ended up being the guy. But I think Sens fans were too hard on Elliott.
Pillsy.
Uh-oh.
Craig Anderson is 5-1 against Ottawa.
Come on. Damn it.
With a .918 save percentage. But again, that's going way back. These other guys, all those games were after they played for Ottawa. So we love a good revenge game, but it seems to have gone against Ottawa in that situation.
Curtis Lazar revenge game coming up.
Oh, and Nick
Mike
Foligno.
Riley. Yeah, Nick Foligno. There you go.
So lots of Senators blood on the Boston Bruins. Again, we'll have a full preview of that tomorrow. We've got a big interview coming up later in the week. Hopefully this COVID situation in Ottawa hasn't thrown a wrench in that, but we're going to confirm it tomorrow night, and we'll have a perfect tease for you on Wednesday once we record, but expect it in Thursday's show. You can follow the podcast anywhere you download yours, including on YouTube, where you can watch us live every day, Monday through Friday. Pillsy, we made it. We made it to the Belleville Senators.
I was just about to say, it sounds like you're wrapping up. I'm not letting you wrap up without talking about Belleville.
Hell no. We got this, especially when the team plays as well as they did this weekend and on Saturday with the depleted team, because Sokolov and Brandstrom and Sabrin, and don't laugh when I say Scott Sabrin. He's a good AHLer, and he scored a goal on Friday night for this team. And Andrew Agozzino were all in Ottawa at the game, because nobody knew what was happening next with the Senators and their COVID protocol. So on Saturday in Cleveland, it was even more impressive that they got the 3-2 shootout win. And on Friday, they get the 6-2 victory, clearly, in regulation. But that 6-2 victory is what I want to dive into a little bit deeper, because Belleville scored 3 goals in the first and 3 goals in the third period. And I tweeted this out at Sens Central, but this Jake Lucchini guy, like, give him an NHL two-way contract. This guy is a complete star down there.
When are they going to raise the statue? That's the next question.
Retire 9.
They got to get a Belleville in the rink. They got to get a Lucchini fettuccine linguine special going. Yeah, there's something there.
There's
that's
something
for sure.
there. And hey, how about our boy Casti having a little point streak of his own? But just your thoughts overall on this weekend, where we saw both Mads Søgaard and Kevin Mandolese get a win, which we love that, both guests of the show.
Absolutely. Goalie friendly show. We love seeing those guys get W's. And that's what I was waiting for, Ross. Mando, again, Mando's had a tough go here. Anytime he gets an opportunity, he's kind of tossed to the wolves, right? Like last year, he didn't really get the introduction and the playing time we kind of thought he would. He was just kind of tossed in there when there was injuries. Same thing to start this season. But now it's him and Mads. Well, no, Gustafsson has been sent down there as well. So now, again, Mando's not getting the best opportunity here. But for the weekend, both goalies were playing well, and that's what I was waiting for this Belleville team, because if they got some better goaltending, I really thought that they could find a way to score goals. And sure, the defense core is young, but I think they could have found some stability there. So it all starts from the goaltending when you're in the AHL, in my opinion, because things can get wild and chaotic down there. Half the time, you don't even know who's playing for your team. There's transactions everywhere. So for the goalies to be stable and consistent, that's massive. And to go back to back, both of them getting a win, that's going to be huge for their confidence going forward and for this team.
Yes, well said. And I love that they got off to such a great start, because that's been plaguing this team a lot early in the season, being down 1-2 goals right away. And next thing you know, it's just getting away from them. So the shots were only 27-25 on Friday, but they still get the 6-2 victory against a team they should beat. There's not really many guys on Cleveland that are monsters that scare you very much. So I'm happy to see that. And we mentioned Mark Kaslich. And by the way, his photos are hilarious. I just tweeted it out at Send Central. Mark Kaslich is everybody pre and post COVID. I'm actually going to pull that up as I tell you that Mark Kaslich is currently on a 4-game point streak. He's got 3 goals in his last 4 games. And that's great to see, because he went the first 4 games of the year pointless and he didn't score in his first 6 games. So he's finally getting on the score sheet, and that's great to see. I was actually surprised they didn't call him up instead of Scott Sabrin, especially, that 4th line center position. Is it Gambrell? Is it Logan Shaw? It'd be nice to see Kaslich get a game, but look at that, Pillsy. That's everybody pre and post COVID. Hey, just letting the hair fly. So that's great. Love to see that. Good guy, Mark Kaslich. You can go back and listen to our interview with him in a recent episode of Locked On Senators. Okay, so Saturday's game, a little bit tighter though, hey? So shootout, the Belleville Senators get up a goal towards the start of the 3rd period. Lassie Thompson made his return. Mm-hmm. Great to see him get on the score sheet. Roby Jarventi gets a goal and an assist. So all in all, lots to like from this weekend for the Belleville Senators.
Yeah, and I mean, it wouldn't be a Belleville Senators game without Jake Lucchini getting a point in there. He got an assist. So yeah, it's great that Lassie's back. It's great that Kaslich is firing on all cylinders here. It's looking good.
With all the guys out on Saturday that I mentioned before, Lucchini got to wear an A.
Attaboy, nice. And A for Alfredo or what?
Well, and if you're thinking who is this guy they're talking about? We don't know him. He's on a one-way AHL contract. He was traded to the team for future considerations. He is in his 3rd season. He's in his 4th season in the AHL. Last year with Laval, played 28 games and had 6 points. Well, he's got 6 goals in 10 games right now. So this guy is absolute star. Speaking of stars, we know Ian Mendez is a true writing star. Before we go, he just wrote an amazing article worth the subscription in The Athletic. He went down to Grand Forks, which is a pilgrimage that you and I are going to do later on this season. And oh man, just the Ralph, the way he described the inside of that building, we need to be there.
Honestly, the way he described the Ralph, I was entered into a dreamland where I was this is how I would make an arena. And this, it's insane that they're able to, obviously, I mean, college sports and the funding, that's a whole nother story for another day.
Their Jumbotron is $6 million.
That's insane. Yeah, that's the thing. And they get 11,000 fans. The only reason the place wasn't packed because it's deer season in North Dakota, so half the people are out hunting. But to have a shrine, and that's why they're one of the greatest developmental programs, because when guys are playing there, especially elite talent like Jake Sanderson and I'll say it, Tyler Clavin, when they're playing there, you can feel this is what it's like to be in the pros, to be a professional. This is the regiment. This is the kind of schedule. This is the kind of equipment, amenities, all these kinds of things that we're going to have. So let's take advantage of them now, learn how to use them properly, get ourselves ready for the pro level. And that's why the Sens love drafting players out of there, because they're already feeling that atmosphere.
Can you take us through that Scott Stevens? I mean, Tyler Clevin hit in that game against Denver, and Ian picked a great weekend to go. They win both games, and that might be the biggest hit I've ever seen outside the NHL. That was ridiculous.
Don't get the K train angry, and that's what we saw there. He was angry, and he was looking to put that guy.
That was the second play.
Yeah, that was the second one. Yeah, exactly.
I'm talking about the first one, cutting right across the middle. That was Scott Stevens on Paul Correa, Scott Stevens on Eric Lindros. That was one of the biggest hits I've ever seen. But the one you're talking about, a player had gone after his teammate earlier, so he took a number, and continue how he finished him off.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a college kid, that is like, Tyler Clevin was like, he was blackout rage there. Like, guys were trying to hold him back. He was still, as they were taking him off the ice, he's still screaming at the guy. Like, this guy, when he gets to Belleville and the NHL, which I think he will one day, is going to be a guy that I think everyone's going to love having on their team. He seems like a good guy all around as well. And he is a force to be reckoned with already. So that's the kind of player that these Senators definitely want. And I can speak for myself and you, Ross. We love seeing players like that. And I think Sens fans, as they get to know him and watch him more, they're going to love him just as much.
It's unreal. And another thing that really caught my eye was that he's playing the right side. And Ian gets into that in his article. And how about Brad Berry breaking it down for him? We're not going to give away a lot of the article. It's a must read no matter what. But saying that if you play the right side, you now have 6 jobs you can get in the NHL. Honestly, if you only play the left, hey, you're taking out 3 jobs. And when you know Shabbat and Sanderson are 2 left shot defensemen, you want to add a little flexibility to what's going to happen at the next level.
Absolutely.
And the funniest storyline still remains that both Tim Stützle and Jake Sanderson will not get their preferred number in Ottawa because of Frank Finnegan. That is just all-time comedy.
Yeah, it is pretty hilarious. But I mean, hey, you got to respect the legends, Frank.
Hey, the number hangs in the rafters for good reason. All right, thanks everyone for listening. We had a great weekend, and if you haven't heard from us yet, you might soon, because we're going to get our plans in order and reach out to one lucky subscriber on our YouTube to join us at an upcoming Ottawa Senators game. So stay tuned to all of that. Of course, subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to do that draw a little later on this week. But for today, we say goodbye. Again, you can follow us on Twitter at Sen Central, where the up-to-the-minute updates regarding this whole Senators COVID situation. Is tomorrow's game in jeopardy? I don't think so, but we'll discuss that tomorrow. For today, we say goodbye. For Brandon Pillar, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.